The Denver Broncos have won 10 straight football games. They're 11-2, guys. I can't believe it. I had high expectations for Denver coming into the season. I had them winning the division. I trusted the defense. But I think this is the best team in football, and they've proven it time and time again. 24-17, finally a touchdown on the opening drive. There had been 10 straight opening drives without a touchdown, but Bo Nix was able to run it in. Got a little bit nervous because there was a delayed game, but Nix just found a way to get it done as always. The defense is just on a different level. I mean, I feel like a broken record at this point because every single game I say that the Broncos just don't allow anything. Like Geno Smith threw for 116 yards in this game, did have a touchdown. Rushing wise, Jenny 10 for 30. I mean, that's extremely low efficiency. It's the Broncos. They're able to get after the quarterback at a different level, and they'll also mix in different blitz packages, and you never really know what they're going to be in. And you can't exactly play Nick Benito 101 because you also have to deal with Cooper. You've got to deal with Zach Allen. And then the secondary with Jade Barron has just been on a different level ever since Pat Surtain came back too. And it's funny because Riley Moss, I gotta go back and look at the tape, but I don't know if he was held responsible for that touchdown, but just kind of like typical Riley Moss fashion, just a blowout game, and he gives up a touchdown kind of late there. But RJ Harvey, 17 for 75 and a touchdown. No J.K. Dobbins, obviously he's out for the season. That's a big loss for the Broncos, but Harvey stepped up. He had multiple good runs in this game. I also like what I saw out of Jaleel McLaughlin. Next man up mindset, Adam Prentice, longest run of his career, 18. That was kind of crazy to see. Cortland Sutton, 6 for 62, just Mr. Consistency. When you talk about the Denver Broncos, it might not be the most entertaining football. It's not like the Chiefs, of course, during that dynasty where they're putting up a bunch of yards. See, the Broncos, how they do it is they're methodical. They put up points and they get it done with their defense. And it just reminds me of like old school, like 2000 Ravens football. I mean, I'm not saying this defense is like that good, but it's just one of the best defenses we've seen in a long, long time. And they're just so consistent. Like the Broncos have played 13 games this season. And I thought there was one game defensively that they didn't play well in, and it was the Colts one. And they still should have won. There was a 62-yard field goal. There was leverage, and it pushed the ball up 15 yards. So, Denver, they understand that as long as they just don't turn the football over and they don't beat themselves, they can beat anyone. I mean, they've beaten the Chiefs. They've beaten the Eagles. They're going to take on the Chargers here in a couple of the weeks. Who do the Broncos even play next? That's right, Green Bay. It's going to be a primetime game on CBS. Jacksonville, Kansas City Chargers. This is a difficult schedule, like as difficult as it gets. But the Broncos are going to be going into the playoffs. And by the way, they have a 98.2% chance to make the playoffs. So basically, they're guaranteed to make it. But you're talking about four playoff teams, like four teams that are going to the playoffs. So the Broncos, they're going to head into January playing against four very good teams. And that's only going to help them too. And it seems like Denver, they have this switch. And once they click it, they just push the ball down the field and they take up so much time and they already trust their defense, and it allows them, of course, to not be in a rush because you know that you don't have to put up 30 points like some of these other teams to win. You can put up 24 and you're going to have a very good chance to do that. And honestly, like the Washington Commanders game was super electric, and then this game was flat out boring. I mean, this had to have been the shortest game of the season for the Broncos. It wasn't long at all. I mean, if you take a look at just the plays itself, it was 33 minutes. That's like usually it's 40 minutes plus in football. But if you look at the standing, because that's really what matters here. So Denver currently has the best winning percentage in conference games in the AFC. So they are the number one seed as of right now over the Patriots, which means they'd have a bye and then they'd have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And obviously I'm biased, like my name is Daily Broncos, but I just don't see a team coming into Denver and being able to beat the Broncos in a playoff game. I think the one team that I'd be overly concerned with is the Kansas City Chiefs, and they might not make the playoffs. And I still don't think they'd be able to beat the Broncos. I mean, this isn't the old Chiefs where it's like, I mean, nobody really would want to play the Chiefs, but there's just better teams, right? Like the Patriots are better, the Jags are better. Hell, I think the Bills are better, even though the Patriots did beat them. So that's just kind of where I'm at, is you have to be able to move the ball and take off time against the Broncos defense. And there's just no team that's going to be able to do that. And if Bo Nix can take care of the ball, if they can get a run game going, Cortland Sutton is just go-to on third down. Sean Payton calls a game that, again, just isn't just, let's just hand the ball off, first, second down, and then third down, third and long. No, like it's Sean Payton just gets creative, puts Bo into a situation to succeed, the Broncos are going to be more than fine. And that's what they've done all season long. It hasn't all been pretty, but they find ways to win, and that's what the great teams do. And this Broncos team is very similar to the Chiefs team last year that went like, what, 11-2 at the top of my head in one-score games? Like the Broncos, they're just basically unbeatable in one-score games. They did lose to the Chargers on a game-winning kick, and they lost to the Colts on a game-winning kick. So that's the thing is technically the Broncos were not winning necessarily, but technically the Broncos like didn't trail in those games unless you count like all zeros in the clock. And we could nitpick at that, but the bottom line is that like who's going to be able to beat the Broncos? Because you're going to have to put up points. Like you go and you look at the games the Broncos have lost. I mean, see the Chargers. We'll go back to that game. It came in consecutive weeks. Again, the Broncos have won 10 in a row. Herbert threw for 300 yards and the Chargers ran for 106. So they put up a bunch of yards and they got only 23 points. Like the Broncos have got to be able to put up more than 23. But you look at the Colts game. I mean, that was the kind of outlier here. 316 yards by Daniel Jones passing and then 167 rushing. Jonathan Taylor went absolutely nuclear in that game. He had a 68-yard run. The Colts are definitely not making the playoffs, and the Chargers are just derailed with injuries, which just basically, like, I don't think both of those teams will be able to beat the Broncos in the playoffs. I think it's really going to come down to the Patriots and the Broncos. I know it's easy to say, oh, the two top teams, but, like, these are the teams that are on 10-game winning streaks right now. I think these are the best teams not only in the AFC, but in football, and really it comes down to just home field. Like Drake May coming into Denver against this defense is going to be a nightmare, but also Bo Nix going into Foxborough would be just as much of a nightmare. It's just such an advantage when you have a defense that you could play through. Like speaking of the Ravens, I mean, that defense they had won them a Super Bowl. The next Super Bowl was all Joe Flacco in the offense, but this time around, like Bo Nix again, just hell, can you give us 20? And like you feel like you're going to win that game, 9 times out of 10. So we'll look and see how the Broncos play the next 4 weeks, because for all we know, the Broncos could get cold here and start to run into these good teams and lose, but I just don't think they are. I just don't, man. Like, it'd be one thing if the defense just, has a couple of off games, but, like, the defense just doesn't do that. Like, they even against the Commanders, a game in which they gave up explosive plays, like, what happened? Nick Benito made a play at the line of scrimmage and prevented that 2-point conversion to be able to win the game. And Bo Nix is just at his best in the fourth quarter as well when the game's on the line here. I will say the one thing, and I know I've been saying this about the Broncos, is just another receiver opposite of Courtland Sutton. Yes, Marvin Mims, he's had a punt return touchdown. Pat Bryant, they took a second-round pick on him. And they also have Troy Franklin, Evan Ingram. Like, they've got weapons, but I think they need a legit, like a Jalen Waddle type of player. But if the Broncos didn't give up a first-round pick, which is what the Dolphins wanted, the Bills gave up a first-round pick next year, which I don't know why they didn't take that because next year's draft is better than this year's draft. The Broncos, if they felt like they really needed that to win a Super Bowl, I think they would have done it. So the fact that they kept the picks kind of says that they believe in their current roster, which means that I believe in the current roster because they know way more about the team than I do. So, yeah, outside of that, that's kind of all I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Man, I mean, it's 10? Yeah, it's 10 p.m. right now, and I've been watching football all day and basketball. There was games early on. So, yeah, man, I need a cup of coffee, but peace.